Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Google Camp. If you want to connect with us on social media, it's hashtag IE Google Camp. And should you need assistance during this Zoom session, please private message your Zoom moderator, June Miller, through the chat option at the bottom toolbar. And should you need assistance with the conference schedule, please refer back to the Google Camp Sched page and select Help. Welcome to hashtag K2 Can to use Google for Literacy Center. And I'm going to turn this over to our presenter, Jennifer Dean.
Thank you. And I did see a couple of questions in the chat for people asking for the presentation for the last one. I will make sure I get that to you, but I want to get started, but I will get it to you before the end of this. So don't worry, I won't forget. And if I do, just remind me, okay? But I will get it. All right, let's go ahead and get started. You do want my presentation also because as you can, if you were in my last session, you know that I really like to let you guys participate and make things really interactive, just like I would with my actual class. I feel like it helps me as a teacher to know what to do, and so hopefully it helps you. So this is another example of a super interactive session. Everything I'm going to be showing you today, I'm not just showing you, you're going to be playing and doing and getting to explore too. So you definitely want this bit.ly. It is case sensitive. So the D and the K and the G are capitalized. You do have to type it exactly how you see it, but you do want this open. Everything is hyperlinked on here and we are going to play and have fun. And then you're going to leave here with all these templates ready to make and start using in your own classroom. So it's pretty cool. While you guys are opening up that presentation, I just want to tell you a little bit about me. My name is Jennifer Dean. You can follow me on Twitter at techie_Jen. That's one of the best ways to contact me if you have questions. You can also email me. This is my email. And I also have a website, and I've been really good the last like 2 weeks of updating it. So hopefully I'll continue that. But I do have a ton of resources on there. Whenever I do like random Zooms here and there to cover different topics, and I put the recorded version on there. I put all my presentation links on there and things like that. It says I have to publish this so that more people can access it. So I'm going to publish it. And I'm going to have to, hopefully that will help you. If not, I'll put that in the link too. If you can't access it, I'm going to put it here for you guys too. I just don't normally have that many people on it at one time. Okay. I'm also a first grade teacher in Desert Sands Unified School District, which is all the way in the Coachella Valley where it's nice and hot, so like 110 to 120 all summer. I'm a Google certified trainer and Seesaw ambassador, and I'm a lovely dog mom to my little Charleston right here. And he's also on Twitter, so if you want to follow him, and Instagram, if you want to follow him, you can. The presentation link is still here too. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on how we can use Google for our literacy centers, kind of, but we're also going to be focusing on basically how we can use them in a distance learning model, right? Because kids are going to be at home learning, so how can we use them? So I'm going to go ahead and start with this first template. And this is definitely more of a K standard, but you can easily alter this for first grade and second grade too, so I'll show you how. But if you have my presentation open, this image right here is hyperlinked. So when you click on it, a little thing will pop up underneath and you're going to click on it and it's going to automatically make you make a copy because I don't want us all editing the same one. So you're going to actually click make a copy. When you assign this to your students though, they will not have to do this, okay? You will actually just assign this into Google Classroom and I'll show you how to do that at the end of this. And then it makes a copy for them. But since I can't have people outside of my domain on my Google Classroom, I have to do it this way. So you won't have to do it this way, but this gives you access to the template. So once you make a copy, this is now in your drive, okay? I do want to show you really quickly how to organize though, because I'm actually very proud of my digital organization, and it makes it so much easier when you're trying to find stuff to assign to your kids. So once you do this, I erase copy because I don't need it to be copy. You click on File, Move, and you actually will move it into a folder. I have a folder called First Grade ELA Resources. And I'll show you how organized, right? So and if you don't have folders, you can create it right here, okay? So you create your folder, and then inside my folder, I have every single unit and even broken up by week. So you can super organize this so that it's really easy to find everything that you need. So I do recommend making sure you organize your drive, okay? Because that'll save you later. So here is the template. So what I would do is, right, I would have a video of myself teaching what short A sound is, what the D sound is, what the P sound is. After the students learn the sounds, here is their activity, and they have to sort, right? So pizza, they would drag to the P. Sometimes students have a hard time clicking and dragging. So if you're on this template, you can see that. You might make a mistake. You might accidentally make it really big. And then you're like, oops, I didn't mean to do that, right? So I'll show you a couple little tricks. I always teach the kids, I show them making a mistake so that they know, like mistakes that I know they're gonna make, like I know they're gonna resize this. This is what they usually do, end up resizing it like that. So I show them that if they make that mistake, there's this little arrow that says undo. They click it to make it go back to normal. So I will make mistakes like that on purpose to show them how to fix it. I also show them how they can click on the image and then use their arrow keys to move it on their keyboard. If they use their arrow keys, then it makes it a lot easier for those kids who have a hard time dragging and dropping. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to just go ahead and sort these images and put them in the correct spot. And then I'll show you how you can edit this and make it over and over again for all your letter sounds. Or if you're doing word families, you could do like, this could be at, add, ac, or something like that, short A. And then for like 3rd grade, it could be compound words, different things. So lots of ways to do it. But go ahead and play just to see how it works. And if you make a mistake, just hit the undo, okay? I always tell, because you know, the kids always say, oh, I didn't do anything, but I'm like, well, yeah, you did, but it's okay. Like we make mistakes, that happens. So I just show them how to fix it. So they're just like always so afraid, and I don't know. If they make a ton of mistakes, I show them how to do this. More one-on-one, I wouldn't really do this whole group so much, but you hit File, Version History, See Version History, and I always tell them to go back to the earliest time and just restore. If they make so many mistakes that it's just a hot mess, restore it and start over. It's easier than fixing over and over again. The goal is that they learn how to just undo when they make one mistake. And if you make it and you show them, hopefully that will work. But if not, at least you have that as another option. So how do you make these though, right? How do you make these? All you do once you have this template is you can click File, make a copy. And now let's say that I want to do short A word family sort. I'm going to make this a short A one. Organize it, put it in the right spot in your drive. Don't just have it go to your drive randomly. Really decide which folder you want it to go in, okay? Then you hit okay. It makes a copy for you. All you do, this is just a text box. So like, I'm going to think about my short A word families. I know one of them is at. Oops. Ac. Just change them to what yours are. Maybe add, okay? Then you just click on the images and delete them. You can also click and drag over them, and it highlights all of them at once and delete all at once. So that's a really easy way. And then you just add your own images. So you click in, you can either click insert image, search the web, and let's say at. Okay, I know I need a cat. So I type in cat. You can do real pictures or fake. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Let's do that one, it's pretty. Click on it, click insert. Resize it. Let's see, someone want to put in the chat, what's another at that you think we could use? Matt, bat, perfect, okay. So then I'm just gonna image, search the web, bat, This is gonna give me probably choices. Let's do baseball bats. All right, bats. I'm gonna click it, insert. And then that one resized for me. And then let's do hat. Oops. Insert, search the web, hat. Click on it, insert, resize it. Then you just keep going and you just do it for all of that. And you don't need to have 3 of each. You can have as many as you want. So then you would do the same thing with your ACK families. That's how easy it is to make this. Then when I want to make my other one, file, make a copy. Maybe I'm going to do short E words now. And I just did the same thing. I rename, I edit the text, delete the pictures, add new pictures. That's how simple it is to make these. And then the students go ahead and drag and sort, and they're practicing their word families. You don't have to do images. Say you want to do text boxes instead. You could just do a text box. And you could actually type in the words. And you could have students find their own pictures if you wanted. So there's lots of different ways. They would just drag this up there then. So you can do images or text box, whatever works for you. I'm gonna just check to see if there's any questions on that so far. So if you don't remember how to get to it either, just click on this image. You'll click the link that pops up underneath it, and it will force you to make a copy. And now you can have that, and it's a template. And you can just go back and edit it and add your own and all that good stuff. I'm gonna check the chat just for any questions so far. I just like Google Drawing when I'm only going to do one specific focus. If you want to do like slides, I always think of if I'm going to do multiple slides, you could totally do it in slides too. But since I'm only doing like one, but yeah, you could. If you wanted to do like your whole unit in slides and you assign it to your students and they just know to do one at a time, you could do it that way too. It doesn't have to be in Google Drawing. How do they turn it in is Google Classroom. So I'll show you that really quickly. So when you're in Google Classroom, what they do, you as the teacher will go to classwork. You will create an assignment. You can give it a title and all that good stuff. So let's do short a word sort. And I'm going to add my template from Google Drive. I'm just going to do this one, for example. And where it says students can view, you change it to students to make a copy for each student. And you assign it. When you assign it, they'll open it and then they have a little button that says turn it in. So after they do it, they just hit turn it in. Let's just check for any more questions really quickly. You can't necessarily put the pic in the text necessarily, but you could have the image and then put a text box over it, but the kids will have to move both of them. But if you wanted to do that, you could. You would just have to, they'd be like a layer, but they wouldn't, and you could teach them how to make them so you move them together, but they wouldn't be one image. You'd have to like create that in a separate spot. It's kind of a little more complicated, but it's possible. Okay, here's just all the directions if you forget how to do it. And here's all the directions for you on making your own too. So that's one of the examples. I'm gonna go ahead now and show you another one. So if you're on my presentation and you're on this slide, you click on this image and it is also hyperlinked. Click where it says right here, and it's gonna force you to make a copy again. So go ahead and please open that and make a copy so you can play with this. And here's an example of using Google Slides. And we're gonna do this with our spelling words, and it's a word unscramble. After I show you how to do this, I will show you a couple ways to differentiate this, especially for kinder, because they are gonna need a little bit of an easier start to this, and also how to make it harder for second grade. But now that you're in here, first thing I want you to do is click in here and add your name. And we're reinforcing that names start with capital letters. So teaching them how to, you know, make a capital letter on the Chromebook or whatever. And then you're going to go to slide 2. This is the spelling word work. So what you have to do is drag the letters to spell the word. This is where they do make more mistakes with resizing. So this is where clicking and using the arrow keys is really helpful. Okay. So go ahead and unscramble and spell the word work. If it doesn't move, because you might click it in the wrong spot. You just want to make sure it's actually highlighted and then you move it. Oh my gosh, I keep doing that. After you drag and spell the word, in the blue box, you have 2 choices. Okay. I always start with just having them type the word again. But as for 2nd grade, and then as they get better, then what I have them do is actually use the word in a sentence. So they start by just typing the word, but as they get better, they're going to use the word in a sentence. So my mom goes to work at the post office. And then what they can do after that, I wouldn't do this in kinder or probably beginning first, but once they get this, once you do this with them and they're getting to be experts and they're getting fast at this, take it to the next level. Now teach them how to insert the image and find, search the web, sorry, and find post office worker. Here, someone's working at the post office. And you just make it smaller. So now the kids are adding their own picture to match their sentence. So that's a way to differentiate it for 2nd grade. And then they just keep going. They just do each slide then. What I do recommend is I tell them to do their word and their sentences, do all of the words and sentences first. And if they get done, then they get to go back and add pictures, because they could spend so much time just picture searching. And that's not what I want them focusing on. Like, that's great, that's fun, that's their little extra, but I want them focusing on their words and their writing. So, and the visual helps make a connection for them, but that's just a part of it, right? So that's what I actually show them how to do, is do all the words and sentences first and then add pictures. For kinder, what I would do is I would not have the letters unscrambled. I would have them in the correct order, and all they do is drag them down and then retype. So I would not have it scrambled. I would have it just be the word, and then I would have them just drag and then just type, because that is a skill all in its own, right? We just want them getting used to L-I-V-E and then typing it. But for 1st grade, definitely unscramble and then start working in sentences. 2nd grade, go right in with sentences and pictures. They're independent. They can do a lot more. Just because you probably don't want your copy messed up, I wanted you to play with it and see how it worked a little bit, but you don't want your copy all messed up right now. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit File, Version History, see Version History, and pick the earliest time and restore it. That's going to put it all back to normal, because I want to show you how easy this is to edit and make your own. So what I would do is I would rename this, and I'm benchmarked, so we have like 10 units in 3 weeks. So I would actually title this like Unit 1, Week 1, and then Unit 1, Week 2, Unit 1, Week 3, and I would keep doing that. And then all you do, okay, is change the letters. These are just text boxes. So let's say instead this is going to be the word what. I am going to change the letters around a little bit to make it be the word what, right? If I need more letters, I just click on the box and copy and paste. If I need another one, same thing, copy and paste. Now I have more letters. If I need less, I just click on them and delete them. And then I just go to the next slide and I do the same thing, change the letters. So once you have the template, it's not that much work. You just come in here and change the letters around. So maybe instead of live, it's going to be, one of our words is like here, spore. And I just delete a text box. So once you have it, that's how easy it is to edit. And then when you need more, file, make a copy, entire presentation. And now I'm going to rename this to Unit 1, Week 2. And then I just change the letters. You can change the theme and the colors and all that, but that's something that's just more work for you. And that's something that eventually I teach the students how to do. So once they get to be experts, and now I'm like, okay, cool. When you get all done with your words and your sentences and your pictures, you can change your theme if you want. They just go to theme and then they pick it and it'll change for them. It'll change the colors of different things. They can learn how to change colors of text boxes and do all that. So you can take this to any level you want to. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and check the chat just to see if there's any questions on that. So for preschool, I would do the same thing I did for kindergarten. But I would actually probably have a picture. So like if I'm teaching, because in preschool, so when I taught pre-K, we did mostly letters and letter sounds and numbers and things like that. So I wasn't really doing words and frequency words. We did some of the Heidi songs and things like that. So some of our high frequency words we were teaching them. So I might do this with just like 2 high frequency words. Like they're not going to be doing 10 words, right? They're going to probably be doing 2. Or I might be doing this with like actual letter sounds. So instead I might have the letter P and then they type P, like that was probably a bad example. And then they find pictures of things that start with that letter. So they're not doing spelling words the same way that we would be. But in kinder, I would just have the actual word you're learning in the right order. And all they do is drag it down. It looks like that's pretty good on the questions. I'm going to keep looking for one more second. So what you do for them to make a copy is for you assign it in Google Classroom and it will say students can view. You change that to make a copy for each student, which I showed how to do a little bit ago, but you just do that. Yes, you can do this in Seesaw, and you totally can. And actually there's a whole bunch already made within Seesaw also. This is just a way to do it in Google too. And then you could have your audio. You could actually add a video of yourself saying the words, saying the sounds. Yeah, there's a lot more ways to do that. And I'm actually working on a kinder resource right now that has that. So yes, there's totally a way to do that too. But for people who are required to use Google and are not going to be allowed to use Seesaw at all, this is a good alternative for you. Okay, let's go ahead and keep going. Here's again, all the directions are here for you. So if you forget, everything is here for you. And all the directions for editing it are here also. So you can keep making your own templates and all that. The next one is probably the easiest one. This is rainbow typing, and it's kind of like rainbow writing, but we're going to do it in a Google Doc. So if you click on this, you're going to click here, and again, the link will pop up just like everything else is, and it's going to force you to make a copy. And all I do is teach them how to come down here and change the text color. So I just teach them, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick red. And our spelling word is what. Let's go ahead and type the word what. And I'm modeling it with them. W-H-A-T, what. Spacebar, 1 time. Change the color. Let's pick blue. Let's spell what again. W-H-A-T, what. Spacebar, 1 time. Because they will do 20 spaces. Change the color. Let's go ahead and do pink. Let's spell what again. W-H-A-T, what. We type the word 3 times, then I show them how to hit enter or return. Change the color, and this is just getting them practicing changing the color and typing their words. Say the words for, F-O-R, for. Spacebar 1 time, change the color, F-O-R, for. And I just keep going with that. And then once they know how to do it, then I just assign this to them with their spelling words, and now this is their independent practice. That one's pretty simple, so there's not a lot to talk about, but basically I'm just teaching them formatting of how to do a Google Doc that you only click the space bar 1 time, you click enter to go to the next line, I'm showing them how to do some color changing, and they're practicing their spelling words. So I'm trying to combine some of that Google Docs formatting with what they're already doing academically. For upper grades, that's pretty easy. They could do the word, and then after they do the word, right underneath it, they could use the word in a sentence. And then teaching them how to change the color of just the spelling word and underline it, things like that. And then they can keep going with the next word. So you can have them use sentences right here too. Any questions on how to do rainbow typing? It's pretty easy. It's one of the easiest ones. It's usually the one I start with. Yeah, and I'll show you guys how to assign the work again, so don't worry about that. Yes, this is super simple, but this is what I find, right? We are so busy. We do not have time to teach them how to use technology and also all that stuff in academics, right? So we have to find a way to combine them. And also technology is our friend. It can make our life a lot easier. So I'm always looking for ways to combine skills. So I'm teaching the students how to insert images on the word unscramble, but I'm also teaching them how to make that, giving them that visual connection to their spelling word, right? So you're doing so much with that. I'm teaching them how to format in a Google Doc, but I'm also teaching them how to practice their spelling words. So it's like they're doing both things together rather than just one more thing that they're working on. But yes, it's super simple. That's why I like to teach it. So I'm going to X that one out and keep going. You can take it to the next level. You can teach them how to change font. You can teach them about the size, all the bold, italics, underline. You can teach them all those things as they're ready. Don't feel like you have to, but as they get better and better and you're ready to keep teaching more formatting skills, there's a way for you to teach the formatting with something that they're familiar with. And then it basically looks like that. Okay, this one is one of my favorites. And then I have another one, I think. Do I have Scrabble? Yes. Okay, so the next two are probably my absolute favorites. This is going to be kind of hard. I'm not going to be able to do the one part that I would normally do, but I'll show you. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on this template again, and it is hyperlinked for you. It should force make a copy. And we're going to create a word search. I am not doing all the work. The students are. They have their spelling words. I might give them the word bank, like since we're going to be virtual. In my classroom, the words are on the board because I teach them. So I don't give them the word bank. But being virtual, giving them the word bank is probably better before you assign this. So I might give them the word bank. But since this is Google Camp, let's have a little fun. Let's make them fun words. Margarita. Yeah. Okay, so we have some fun spelling words here, right? It does automatically start it with capital, and that drives me crazy. So I do have to actually go back and fix those. So I've given you your word bank now, okay? What you're gonna do is you have to type in inside each text box, and you really teach them that each box is just like you would on like a worksheet, basically. You have to put one letter in each box. So they can't try to start typing the whole word there. They can only do one letter. Then they have to go to the next. You teach them how to do this. So I don't know if I'm gonna have enough room. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now they have that. Then they add the next word. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fit there. Let's do smaller words. Let's do sun. And some of your students, this is where you're gonna see their different thinking here. Some of your students are gonna put all the words going the exact same way. Some are gonna go all different ways. Some are gonna go like backwards and diagonal, because what I end up doing is I let them assign it to another student, and then they have to solve each other's. So they try to make it a little more complicated because they know that someone else is going to be solving it. The only thing about this one is that people do have to, you have to go in and fill in all the blanks. So once you have your words, you literally have to go in and fill in all the blanks. The kids, again, they like to be tricky. So sometimes they'll start spelling a word, like beach, for example, and then they change it. like so that someone thinks they found it, but they didn't. So it's kind of funny. Like they like to try to trick people. So you can see, I'm gonna just give you like 3 minutes, and I want you to actually play with this and make a word search. You don't have to use these words. You can pick any words, okay? But go ahead and make a word search just to see how to use it. And then I'll show you how I have the kids assign it to each other so that they can solve each other's. And I'm gonna keep making mine while you guys do that. Okay, so let's just say now that you have your word search mostly done. So what they do when I want them to assign, and I do teach them how to do this, is I teach them how to share, and I give them the person's email that I want them to share with. So they would type in someone's name that they want to share it with, and then they send it to them. After they send it to them, then the students, they go to their Google Drive and they go to shared with me, and it will show up as the most recent thing shared with them. They open up their shared with me and they look for the word. When they find it, they click in here and then they use the paint bucket to highlight it. And now they're finding the word. So again, I'm teaching them things like how to use text boxes, how you have to type and then move on to the next cell, how to use the paint bucket. I'm teaching them all these formatting skills within Google Drawing, but I'm also making them do all the work for their spelling words. And now they have some ownership because they're actually assigning this to other students. So, and you don't have to, you do not have to share it with them, but you can. It's just a fun way to let them solve. You can make the kids solve them themselves, or they might, another fun way is you tell them that you're going to solve their word searches. So if you don't want them assigning it to each other, you could say, okay, make it tricky because I'm going to solve it. And you go through and solve all theirs. It's a good way to grade it and make sure they got all their words in there too. But that's just a couple options of how to use the word search. Any questions so far on that one? All right, so probably because there's so many people, it's not letting you all access it, but you will have access to this presentation. So if you can't play with it right this second, you will be able to. And yes, I can download it too. It's just when I download it, then not everything is always hyperlinked. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but I'll try. But there was another question someone asked me too. So when, just so you know, to find all the templates, you will be able to do this, is when you click in here, the template will pop up. And if it's, for some reason, it's saying there's too many people, hopefully as soon as the session's over and you're not all trying to do it at the very same exact time, then they should be able to work. But if not, I do have all these templates on my website also. So I'll give you that link again, but everything's there. There's a whole section called like Google, and there's a whole part on literacy centers. There's also video tutorials to show you how to use all these again too. So everything is there for you also. So if you're having a hard time, I'm sorry, we have a lot of people in here, so you're not going to have the same experience in your classroom. And all the directions are here for you. Everything is hyperlinked on the first slide for whatever we're working on, okay? So that's how you can do word search. This is the next one that is my second favorite, or maybe my first. This one and word search are my two favorites. Scrabble. Okay. So I had Scrabble letters in my classroom, but then I noticed that not all my students could use them at the same time. And now with COVID, you don't want them all using them. So here's a great way to be still giving them access. So you're going to click on this. And if it doesn't work, I'm sorry, but it will later, I promise. Scrabble word work, make a copy. And then all they do is now they have, and I'll show you really quickly. If you need to, if you need more than 10 slides, all you do is duplicate slide. So you right click and duplicate, and everything will be layered in there for you. So you can do that for as many as you need. So if you needed like 15, just duplicate the slide and it will make it for you, and everything is layered for you. Okay. So what they do is they have a spelling word. Let's again just use the example what. They drag the letters down to build it. I'm using my keyboard, this is my arrow, so it takes a little bit longer, but you can just drag it too. And then froze on me. After they do that, they double click, and this is a text box, and they type the word again. And then here they add it, and you can have them do it a couple ways. Sometimes I just say, okay, go ahead. So 8 and 10, they can just write the answer, or you can actually have them write it out. You can decide how you want to do that, but everything is there for them. And then they would just go to the next slide, and then they would do their next spelling word. So they build it, they type it, and they add it all up. They add all the points. If you're doing 3rd grade too, you could have them multiply, whatever. You can make it as tricky as you want it. And there's tons of layers here. There are literally so many that you should not run out of letters. There's like plenty of every single letter. But if you want to play with that for a little bit, and then I'm going to check the chat because I did have a couple questions I know I haven't answered. Yes, you could totally use this for their name. That's a great example. Have them you just only need one slide, or if you wanted to have them do it multiple times. Yep. So basically what I did to create Scrabble words like this, but you don't need to because you have the copy. But what I did is I just copied images I just searched like Scrabble letter A, Scrabble letter B, copied it and pasted it over and over and over and over and over again. So there were lots of layers, and then stacked them on top of each other. So when I did this, so to force you make a copy, I actually did something that forces you to make a copy, but you don't have to worry about that with your students. I'll show you guys again. I think that was, I'm going to double check, but this is like the last major center I wanted to show you. So I'll show you again how to assign on Google Classroom, and it automatically makes a copy for the kids. So you do not have to show them how to do this. It will do it for you. To add a hyperlink. Okay, so I'll show you a couple questions. To add a hyperlink. All you do to add a hyperlink is say I want to hyperlink this. I click on it. I do control. If you're on a Chromebook or a PC, it's Control K. If you're on a Mac, it's Command K. And it asks you right here to add the link. So then you just paste a link in here and it hyperlinks it. So when I hyperlink stuff, that's how I do it. So let's say I want to link like, I don't know, a YouTube video for like letter A. I wouldn't do this with my students, obviously, just go to YouTube randomly. But let's say I have, oh, perfect, this is the song I want, copy link, and I just paste the link in here, and now it's hyperlinked. So then when they click on it, the link pops up. But I'm going to undo that because I don't want that. So Command K, paste the link, and then enter, and it automatically does it. I'm going to show you again how to share with friends. They click share right here, and they type in their friend's email, and then they send it to them by clicking done, and it sends to them. For them to find it, they just go to shared with me. If they have email, it should show up in their email too, but I know a lot of K2 people don't have emails necessarily. They don't have access to actual email. So the trick is to go to Drive. They go to Drive, and then they go to shared with me, and it will pop up for them, the most recent thing shared with them. The other thing I was going to show you, I'm going to X that out, was somebody asked about what if you needed more boxes. So say you needed more rows or columns, that's what they're called. So what you do is you're going to have to make the word bank smaller. And then move it so it's out of the way a little more. And then you click inside and you right click and click insert column right. And you can keep doing that. And you can also change the size. And then if you needed like more to go down, you just right click, insert row. So you just insert columns, insert rows, and that's all you do. You just might have to resize it a little bit, but that's how you can add to that too if you needed more space. And you can teach your students how to do that too. Okay, let's look at the chat one more time and then we'll go to the last one. Okay, so here's another really easy one. This is almost like Word Unscramble or Scrabble, but just without adding. So I'm not gonna like go crazy with this. I'm just gonna show you how it works. This might be another good one with pre-K if you don't want them adding, but you want them working on their name or different things. It's right here for them. So all they would do is, it's kind of like letter tiles. If you have letter tiles in your classroom, these are letter tiles, but they're just all in Google now. And then, oh, I didn't give you guys a good template. I'm sorry. And then they just drag the letters down and then they use it in a sentence, or they just type the word again. It's just like the Word Unscramble, except for they're not unscrambling and they're just picking letters. It's like, so it's like letter tiles. It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't want this though, so I'm gonna fix version history. I don't know why it's like that. Oh, it's not letting me do it. Oh well. Okay, so that's a pretty easy one. I'm gonna keep going because that's pretty self-explanatory and we only have like less than 10 minutes left. The last, these are, I'm not gonna go into too much detail with these. There's some examples. This is more what I would do only for second grade, but basically it's thinking maps inside a Google Doc. So all the directions are here for you and it shows you exactly how to do it. But they basically would use a thinking map inside of a Google Doc. And so here's some examples of, I guess I'll show you one just so you can see how it's done, but the directions are here for you. So let's say we want to do like a retelling of a story. I teach the students how to do different things, but basically they double click this and it pops up as a drawing. And then let's say that they are going to be doing some informational text retell, like they just read a text about national landmarks and monuments, and I want them to retell. So they open that up and they click on the image and they search. So let's say one of the monuments they learned about was the Statue of Liberty. They just type in Statue of Liberty and they pick an image they like and select it. They resize it and they move it in. That's one of the things they're going to tell us one fact about the Statue of Liberty. Another monument that they really were interested in is, yeah, let's do Mount Rushmore. So they pick a picture of Mount Rushmore. They resize it. This is way too hard for kinder, but I did this in first grade in person. I never tried this virtually. Second grade probably could do it no problem. And then they keep going. So what's another monument that they might be interested in? Washington Monument. And this is like them creating their thinking map, like they're getting their pictures. So they're putting it in order. Okay, they're going to talk about the Statue of Liberty, then they're going to talk about Mount Rushmore, then they're going to talk about this. And the final thing they're going to talk about is Liberty Bell. So then they hit save and close. And now they have that done for them. So now they do their writing. So underneath it, they write, I learned a lot about national monuments, and landmarks. And then they are saying, first, I learned that the Statue of Liberty is in New York, right? And they are just writing their facts. So this is their way of like organizing what's going to go first, next, after that, finally. It gives them the transition words that I want them to use, and then they do their writing underneath it. So that's kind of an example of how to do that. But again, that's really hard for kinder, and I would probably try it first grade, say January, but not so much in the beginning. But second grade, third grade, totally can do it. So here's just more examples. You could do it with character traits, describing a character, things like that. And this last one is an ebook. It's basically using Google Slides to do like a report on animals or a report on states or whatever you want to do it on, but it's a good template for you. It's pretty self-explanatory. You insert images and all that stuff. But the one thing that's really cool about Google Slides that I want to show you is they can actually create their own diagram. That's one of the things we talked about is text features and how to use that to locate information. What better way to teach them how? By having them create their own. So for this part, the rest is pretty self-explanatory, but for the last 5 minutes, I want to show you really how to create the diagram, and then I want to show you again how to assign in Google Classroom so you feel ready for that. So what you do to create a diagram, and that's always on my last page because I have them do all the research first. This is not something they do in one day. First, we talk just about title, then we talk just about table of contents, and we do each page one a day. But the diagram, to find a diagram, what they do is they insert image from web. And let's go ahead and do shark again. And their goal is to find a good picture of a shark. This is not a good picture because it doesn't show me all the parts of a shark, right? But this one, I can really see the entire shark's body. So that's going to be a better one to use as a diagram. So I'm going to click that and hit insert. Now, to add the diagram, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add labels. And I don't really remember what all the parts are, so let's look here. Okay, dorsal fin. Dorsal fin. So I put it there, and you can teach the kids how to make it darker. I'm going to drag it. And then they just add a line, and they just drag the line. And they make the line where it says line weight. You have to teach them how to make the line nice and thick and change the color. So now I have a line dragging from the text to the actual item. And then I can just copy and paste from now on. So, okay, dorsal fin, copy it, paste it. Let's look at the next part of it. Gills, okay. Put it wherever you want, copy the line, and drag it so it's showing exactly there. So you can teach the kids how to create their own diagram, which then really helps them to actually use diagrams to locate information. The rest of this is pretty much, it's just generic Google Slides, but it gives them the generic template that they just fill in the blanks and then give me all their information. They got to do a lot of research, but the diagrams is a really cool way to teach them those text features and a lot of formatting and Google tools. Okay, so last thing I'm going to show you, because we have 2 minutes, is Classroom again, because I had a couple questions on that. You go to Google Classroom, and there's a whole bunch of sessions on how to use Google Classroom and how, beginner stuff on that too, if you've never used it. You go to Classwork, and you create assignment. So let's say I want to assign Scrabble. I type in Scrabble. I click Add, Google Drive. I don't know if I have that template in this drive. So I'm just going to pretend this is Scrabble, and I hit Insert. It automatically says students can view file. You have to change that to students make a copy. Make a copy for each student. Then I click Assign. Once I assign that, my students see it, and they all have their own copy. So when they open it, they can start editing it, and then they turn it in. So they would click on this, and they would get to start working on it right away. It's editable for them, and they would start moving everything, and then they just turn it in. Okay, so you don't have to know how to make a copy. You just have to click it that way, and it will make a copy for them. And I have all the directions for that right here. So if you forget, here's all the directions for adding an assignment to Google Classroom. and you just want to make sure you change it to make a copy. Okay, but it's all right here for you. And that is all I have for you. Time is actually up. I'm going to put my website in the chat though, and I'll open it too, just so you can kind of see what it looks like, because there's a lot of resources on here for you. I actually have, if you go to Google, and there's a whole thing about K2 using Google, it's all right here for you. The presentation's right here. Everything is hyperlinked in there. And then there's videos that really show you exactly how to use them. And also, if you're interested in Seesaw, I have a Seesaw tab. And like I said, everything is right there for you with recorded versions of sessions that I've done, templates, all sorts of good stuff. So I'll put that in the chat again, but you definitely want to be able to check out the website. But thank you guys so much for joining me. And I hope you guys can use some of this in your virtual classrooms. I just put the website URL in the chat again. So definitely use that. It is case sensitive, but it will bring it to you. And then my presentation should work for you guys later, and that's all the information's in there too. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure working with you.
Pleasure working with you. Okay, have a great day, you guys.